Hello everyone, and welcome to my video lecture series. Okay, so today we are going to start with a new part. Okay, we are going to start with the growth regulators, but we have already finished with the promoter growth hormones. Now we are going to start with the inhibitor growth hormones, right? So in the previous lectures we have already completed the three hormones: auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. All of them were growth promoters. They were promoting growth. Now from today we are going to start with the growth inhibitors, right? And in growth inhibitors we have to study two hormones. The first one is ethylene and the second one is called as abscisic acid. Okay, before I start with ethylene, if you are watching my lecture or my video for the first time, guys, please do subscribe. Okay, and after watching the video, if you think it helped you, put in a like, share it with your friends, and you can also leave a comment. Anyways, starting with today's topic, so let me write down over here. We are going to start with the first growth inhibitor, okay, which is called as ethylene. All right, now everybody is aware about what ethylene is. It is also called as ethene. It is a type of alkene, right, having the molecular formula C2H4. Now ethene is quite different from the other growth regulators or the growth hormones, because first of all, ethene is a gas. Please remember, all the other growth hormones that we have studied or we will be studying, they are not at all gaseous in matter, but ethene is basically a gaseous growth regulator. So please remember, it is slightly different from the other growth regulators. So I will write it down over here. It is a gaseous growth regulator. Is this clear? Okay, now basically what is the function of ethylene? So the most important function, or you can also say it is an application of ethylene, is it helps in ripening of fruits. Okay, so what is ripening? Ripening is basically when the raw fruit becomes ripe enough. Okay, so basically it is accelerating the aging process. For example, if I have a raw mango which is completely green in color, and after 2 weeks that raw mango is becoming ripe, it is becoming slightly orangish yellowish in color, so that you can eat it. So the normal period of ripening, say it is 2 weeks. Suppose if those mangoes which are raw I expose them to ethylene gas for a long period of time, then maybe those mangoes will ripen in say 6 or 7 days. So what is ethylene doing? Ethylene is accelerating the process of ripening. So basically it is accelerating aging. Are you getting me? That is why it is also called as a growth inhibitor. It is basically accelerating senescence. It is accelerating aging. And the main function, so I'm going to write down the main function of ethylene is it is used in ripening of fruits. Okay, many different fruits can be used: mangoes, apples, bananas. Okay, so a lot of fruits, when you need to artificially ripen them, the ethylene gas or the ethene gas is used. Okay, please remember, ethene is also naturally produced by the fruits. Okay, ethene is naturally produced by the plants. Okay, many parts of the plant produce ethylene. I will write down the parts over here. So ethylene or ethene is naturally produced by the roots. Okay, then it is produced in the shoot, which is the stem. Then it is also produced to a large extent in the apical meristem. Now everybody knows what is the meaning of apical meristem, right? And it is also produced in a fruit which is ripening on the plant. So the natural fruit which is getting ripened on the plant, that also produces ethylene. So naturally also ethylene is produced. However, ethylene can also be used externally from outside to increase this process of ripening. Is this clear? Okay, so we have talked about the main usage of ethylene. Okay, we have talked about how it is a gaseous hormone regulator. Now all this work, okay, all this discovery or all these experiments done on ethylene as a ripening agent, it was basically performed by three people. Okay, three people, they worked independently, they did not work together. I will write down their names. So they were called, one of them was called as Denny, second one was called as Gain, and the third person was called as Crocker. So they were all working independently, okay, they were not working together, but all these three people were responsible for discovering that application of ethylene used as a ripening material. Is this clear? So please remember these names, okay. So that is about the introduction part, okay. Now if you are commercially using ethylene as a ripening product, or sorry, as a ripening material, then you have two ways in which you can use ethylene. Either you can spray ethylene gas on the plants, or you can remove the fruits from the plants, put them in a box, and then fill the box with ethylene so that the ripening process will accelerate. Or you can use a liquid, you can use a liquid compound which will give rise to ethylene. See, the problem with using ethylene gas is that there is a lot of wastage which is occurring. If you are spraying the plants with gas, then some of the gas will be absorbed by the leaves or the other parts of the plant, but most of the ethylene gas will be wasted. But instead of that, if you use a liquid material, so I'm going to write the word over here, the compound which is commercially used, that compound is called as ethefone. Please remember this name, very very important compound, ETHEPHON. This ethefone is basically a liquid compound, okay. Now in your book they have only given that ethefone is the compound which is used as a source of ethylene, but they have not told you how ethylene is produced from ethefone. So I'm going to tell you that it is just extra information, it will probably make things interesting. So ethefone is basically a liquid compound, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just scroll sideways, okay, and now I'm going to show you the structure of ethefone. So ethefone is basically having a chlorine group over here, right? Then there is this aliphatic ring which is connected to phosphorus, right? And phosphorus is basically connected to oxygen, and it is also connected to two hydroxyl groups. So this structure which I have drawn over here, this is the structure of ethefone, okay. And if you see, the molecular formula of ethefone will be how many carbon atoms are present. So there will be one carbon over here, other carbon over here, so there will be two carbon atoms, so C2. How many hydrogens will be present? So two hydrogen over here, two over here, and two from here, so it is C2H6, correct? Excuse me. Yeah, so it will be C2H6. And how many chlorine atoms? Single chlorine atom, so Cl. How many oxygen? 3 oxygen, O3, and a single phosphorus. So it is C2H6Cl O3P. This is the structure of ethefone. This is a liquid compound. Now what is done is this liquid ethefone is used as a spray. So I have already taught you what a foliar spray is. Foliar spray is when the spray is done on the leaves and the leaves will absorb that liquid either through the epidermis or through the stomata. So this ethefone liquid compound is sprayed on the plants, it will get absorbed inside the plant, and inside the plant this ethefone will break down to give you ethylene. So ethylene, everybody knows ethylene, I can write it down like this, C, right, double bond C over here, and two hydrogens attached to each carbon atom. Is this clear? And this structure is called as ethene, or it is also called as ethylene. So this breakdown of ethefone into ethene occurs inside the body of the plant, and normally this breakdown occurs in presence of a higher pH, okay. So I will write that condition over here. Higher pH or high pH causes ethefone to break into ethylene. Is this clear? Now sometimes what might happen is the ethefone which is not absorbed by the plant, that will convert into ethylene outside the body of the plant. That much ethylene will be wasted, but most of it will be happening inside the plant body, and that ethylene will increase the ripening process. Is this clear? So please remember that yes, many people do directly spray ethylene gas, but that process is not very viable because there is a lot of wastage. So instead of that, this commercially viable compound called ethefone is used. Ethefone is a liquid, ethylene gas is a gas. Is this clear? Okay, so I have told you what is used. So let us come back, let us go back to the part where we were. Okay, so I have told you about HFON. Is this clear? Okay, now I have also told you which other parts of the plants naturally produce ethylene. So it is produced almost everywhere. It is produced in the root, it is present in the shoot, it is present in the apical meristem, and it is also present in the fruits which are ripening on the plant. So that completes the introduction part of ethene. What is important to remember? It is important that it is mostly used as a ripening agent. Okay, it is a growth inhibitor, so it will accelerate aging. All the growth promoters that we studied, auxins, cytokinins, gibberellins, they were delaying aging. That means they were prolonging aging, but this being an inhibitor, it will accelerate aging, so ripening will occur much more quickly. Is this clear? Okay, now the next part under ethylene is going to be physiological effects on the plants and applications. So again, as always, I'm going to write down all the points and then I'm going to explain them to you. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to rub this off. Okay, also please remember the names of the people who were important in discovering this ripening property, right? Denny, Gain and Crocker. Okay, now let us move to the next part, which is going to be physiological effects of ethylene and the applications. Okay, now I'm going to write down all the applications. The first application, as I have already told you, very important, it is used in fruit ripening, right? Second application is going to be it stimulates the formation of lateral roots. Now I'm going to explain what are lateral roots. Lateral roots are basically formed from the tap roots, which are the sideways roots which are growing from the primary roots. I will explain that to them. Anyway, the next point is going to be ethylene also helps in breaking or stopping the dormancy of buds and seeds. Correct. Next point is going to be, since it is an inhibitor regulator, as it is an inhibitor hormone, it basically accelerates abscission activity. Okay, and this abscission layer may form in leaves, flowers and fruits. So you know about this. I have already told you inhibitors will always help in this. Okay, then the next point is going to be it inhibits, ethylene inhibits the growth of lateral buds, or they are also called as axillary buds, and causes apical dominance. So if you would have seen in all the videos which I have put regarding the growth promoters, then growth promoters normally stop apical dominance and cause the growth of the lateral or the auxiliary buds. But here, since these are inhibitors, they will stop the growth of lateral buds and they will increase apical dominance. So please remember, the inhibitors are opposite working compared to the promoters. Okay, the next point is going to be, obviously, ethylene accelerates senescence, just like it accelerates abscission. Okay, the next point is going to be it inhibits flowering in most of the plants except pineapple. So the flower formation is inhibited, right? Okay, then I'm going to write down the next point. Now this is quite a new point which I'm going to write down. I'm going to explain that as well. So there is a condition which is called as epinasty. Okay, so epinasty occurs in leaves and flowers. I'm going to explain what is the meaning of epinasty. Correct. Then the next point is again a new one. It basically increases the activity of an enzyme called chlorophyllase. Okay, so I'm going to explain what this chlorophyllase enzyme does. Okay, so let us write down the next property. Okay, and finally you will write down that it is a basically growth inhibitor. Is this clear? Okay, now let us come to all the applications and the physiological effects, and let me explain them to you. Okay, so the first physiological effect, we have already seen that ripening of fruits, you know that. Okay, so it will basically increase the process of ripening. Okay, so that is the first part. Second is stimulates the formation of lateral roots. Now what are lateral roots? There are basically two types of roots. Okay, taproot and fibrous roots. So if you remember the difference between tap roots and fibrous roots, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scroll over here. Okay, I'm going to rub this part off. So the tap roots which are present, they have a structure in which there is one primary root, correct? And this primary root will grow downwards, and from the primary roots there will arise lateral or the secondary roots, correct? So these roots which are growing sideways, these are called as the lateral roots. Please remember that. These are the lateral roots, and this original root, this is called as the primary root. So when you use ethylene, it causes an increase in the growth of lateral roots. Please remember in the taproot system. So that is the point which I wanted to tell you. So I hope it is clear. Okay, so that is the first point. It stimulates the formation of lateral roots. Next point is it helps in breaking the dormancy of buds and seeds. So dormancy is when the buds and seeds are resting. So when you use ethylene, what will happen is, since the aging part is increased, the buds will give rise to new branches or new stem, and similarly the seeds, if they are sown, they will give rise to a new plant. So the inactive phase is broken or the dormancy is broken, so it helps in breaking the dormancy of buds and seeds. Next is, you know that it is a inhibitor hormone or inhibitor regulator, and that is why it accelerates both abscission and senescence. So the abscission layer will be formed much more quickly when you use ethylene gas or when ethylene gas is produced by the plant. Okay, so obviously it will accelerate abscission. Once again, abscission layer is the layer which has become weak due to aging and it falls off from the plant. So that may be leaves, or that may be fruits, or there may be flowers. So it increases or accelerates the rate of formation of abscission layer or abscission. Next is going to be, it inhibits the growth of lateral buds. So as I told you, most of the growth promoters, they stop apical dominance and help in growth of the lateral buds or the axillary buds. But this being a growth inhibitor, it will promote apical dominance. So the apical bud will continue to grow when ethylene is used, but the lateral buds will stop growing, and that is why it stops the growth of sideway branching or axillary buds or lateral buds. Okay, and it will also cause apical dominance. Please remember, when the apical bud keeps on growing, it will stop the lateral buds from growing, and when the apical bud stops growing, the lateral buds can then grow. Okay, so that is how it works. In this case, the apical buds will grow when ethylene is used or when ethylene is released by the plant, and the lateral buds will stop growing. Next is accelerate senescence. I told you senescence and abscission go hand in hand. Okay, both of them are related to aging. So if abscission formation is getting accelerated, obviously senescence or aging process is also going to be accelerated. So that is it. Next is it inhibits flowering in most of the plants. Please remember, So if you want to stop the flowering of plants, you can use ethylene, except pineapple. So ethylene cannot stop the formation of flowers in pineapple, except pineapple. Most of the plants, they will not flower if you use additional ethylene gas. So it prevents or inhibits the formation of flowers. Now the next part, which is very important, is epinasty. I'm going to circle this word. What is the meaning of epinasty? So epinasty is when the leaves and flowers, they become curled up. So normally if you see the surface of the leaf, it is like this, right? It is parallel to the ground. Okay, the leaf is like this. So if you want, I will show it over here. The leaf is normally sideways, it is like this, correct? But because of epinasty, what happens is the leaf curls down, it becomes weak, so it becomes like this, it becomes curled. Similarly, the flowers, you see after some time, when they are fresh, they are nice and straight, or they are horizontal, but later on the petals become curled. So that condition is called as epinasty. So that is curling of leaves or flowers because they are becoming weak. So obviously that is done by ethylene. Please remember, epinasty means curling of leaves or flower. Okay, next point is going to be, it increases the activity of an enzyme called chlorophyllase. Now what is chlorophyllase? So see, chlorophyllase is an enzyme which breaks down chlorophyll. If you want, I will write down over here. Chlorophyllase enzyme, it basically breaks chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the green colored pigment which is present in the organelle chloroplast of the plant cell, correct? Now when chlorophyll metabolism occurs, or when the breakdown of chlorophyll occurs, that breakdown is basically catalyzed by the enzyme chlorophyllase. So what happens is, when chlorophyllase activity increases, so when you use additional ethylene gas, chlorophyllase enzyme becomes active and it breaks chlorophyll. Now when chlorophyll is broken, the leaves or the parts which have got chlorophyll, they lose their green color. Okay, so it is also called as degreening. Okay, I will write down over here, degreening. Degreening means the leaves lose their green color. That is why the leaves which are old, okay, the leaves which have become old, they appear yellowish or brownish in color, because they have lost their chlorophyll, because that chlorophyll has been broken down by chlorophyllase. So chlorophyllase, please remember, this enzyme causes something which is called as degreening. Degreening means chlorophyll gets broken down, so the green color of the leaf disappears. Is this clear? So everything is related to aging and abscission, please remember that. Then the next point is going to be obviously the last point, which is it acts as a growth inhibitor. So this is the first inhibiting hormone or regulator which we have studied. Okay, and with that we have completed our first hormone, which is an inhibitor hormone called as ethylene. Okay, it's a very simple hormone to remember. Okay, so we end this lecture over here. If you have not subscribed to my channel, do kindly subscribe. If you have liked the video, or if you found it helpful, put in a like, put in a comment, share it with your friends. Okay, and in the next lecture we are going to finish this entire phytohormone series with the last hormone, which is also an inhibitor, called as abscisic acid. Okay, thanks a lot.